Not a scratch on India's economy. Even Trump's tariffs failed, says Moody's report. At a time when global economies were trembling, trade war arrows were flying in all directions, and powerful nations like the US were targeting emerging countries like India with tariff strikes, every news channel echoed the same worry. Can India withstand this economic jolt? Will the rupee collapse under the weight of the dollar? And most importantly, will the common man's pocket be directly impacted? It felt like an economic storm was fast approaching, threatening to shake the foundation of every developing market. But just when panic was peaking, a report emerged that shattered all doubts and proved that India's economy would remain unscathed. And this wasn't just any report. It came from Moody's, one of the world's most trusted credit rating agencies. With this, India's economic stability found a renewed strength and recognition on the global stage. Today, we'll dive deep into this crucial report and the reasons why India has emerged strong while others stumble. But before we begin, if you are new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an important update. Now let's begin this insightful discussion without any delay. Moody's report clearly states that India will not only remain largely unaffected by US tariffs but could, in fact, benefit from this situation to some extent. This alone sends a powerful message to the world that India is no longer just an emerging economy. It is now a stabilizing force amid global instability. The report emphasizes that India's internal economic structure has become so robust and diverse that it can withstand international pressure and emerge even stronger from it. And the biggest reason for this resilience is India's strong domestic market and its relatively low dependency on exports, making the country more self-reliant than ever before. The foundation of India's economy is now so solid that even when a superpower like the United States imposed reciprocal tariffs, India didn't buckle under pressure. Instead, government initiatives, rising consumer spending power, and the growing production capabilities of industries showcased that India is no longer a nation that bows to global pressure. Schemes linked to domestic manufacturing, encouragement for small businesses, and new utilization of the workforce have collectively proven that India knows how to turn crises into opportunities. That's why Moody's has asserted that despite global trade disruptions and US tariffs, India remains in a strong position and continues to be a trusted destination for long-term investors. Moody's report also highlights a critical strength of the Indian economy. It doesn't heavily rely on selling goods to other countries because its domestic consumption is strong enough to sustain growth on its own. With a population exceeding 1 billion, comprising a rapidly expanding middle class and a tech-savvy youth, India's internal demand has become the true engine of its economic power. Government initiatives like the Production-Linked Incentive (PLI) schemes focus on infrastructure, and missions like Digital India are all shaping the nation into a more self-reliant, resilient economy. These policies are not only creating job opportunities but also boosting the purchasing power of citizens, giving further momentum to the economy and instilling confidence among global investors. The report also states that if inflation remains under control, there could be a reduction in interest rates, which would further strengthen economic momentum. A drop in interest rates doesn't just benefit banks, it impacts every citizen seeking loans for homes, education, or business. This makes it clear that India's greatest defense lies in the trio of domestic demand, a stable financial system, and consistent policy making. This unique combination shields the country from global threats like recession, trade wars, and currency volatility, an achievement that remains rare among developing nations. Even in sectors directly exposed to tariff impacts, like automobiles, India has found alternatives. The volume of auto parts and vehicles exported to the US is relatively limited, while India's services sector continues to expand rapidly. Fields like IT, healthcare, education, and fintech have become major components of India's exports, areas that are largely unaffected by tariffs. This diversity has made Indian exports more resilient, and government policies are further strengthening these sectors to reduce dependency on any single stream. Moody's also acknowledged that while India's economic growth may dip slightly from 6.7% to 6.3% in 2025, this decline is marginal, especially when compared to the deeper slowdown expected in other G20 nations. In other words, even amid a global recession, India is poised to remain the fastest-growing major economy. This signals that India is no longer merely surviving global disruptions. It is beginning to lead both economically and diplomatically. This trajectory is likely to elevate India's stature on the world stage to new heights. Referring to the Indian government's aggressive infrastructure investment strategy, Moody's noted that rising demand in sectors like power, transportation, and digital connectivity will attract significant capital investment in the coming years. India is fast transforming into not just a manufacturing powerhouse, but also a hub of innovation. This shift will not only create more jobs but also lay the foundation for India's long-term economic growth, encouraging global companies to prioritize India as their primary manufacturing destination. The government's belief that self-reliance is the true strength is no longer just a slogan, it's clearly visible in policy execution. Initiatives like Make in India, Startup India, and Skill India have now transcended paperwork and are being implemented on the ground with real impact. India's youth, who once looked toward foreign lands for job opportunities, are now seeing possibilities within their own country. This shift is not only making India self-reliant, but is also positioning it as a global leader in employment generation. Moody's has also described India's banking system as stable and strong, a major endorsement, especially during a time of global financial turbulence. A stable banking system is the backbone of any economy. If interest rates decline and the lending process becomes easier, it would inject fresh energy into both industries and startups. And that energy is the real fuel of growth, driving innovation, accelerating production, and enhancing the overall economic ecosystem. However, Moody's has also issued a few cautions. One of them is regarding potential volatility in India's exchange rate. If fluctuations become too sharp, it may limit the flexibility of India's monetary policy. This could impact the flow of capital and create pressure on the Indian rupee. But this is not a challenge unique to India. Every emerging economy faces such risks. The difference is that India's position remains relatively stronger. The government's sound currency management strategies and robust foreign exchange reserves are proving crucial in managing and mitigating such risks effectively. Another fascinating insight from the Moody's report is that Indian banks are expected to benefit significantly from non-interest income. This includes revenue from services like insurance, wealth management, and bond trading, indicating a strategic shift beyond traditional lending models. It's a strong signal that India is steadily transitioning towards a modern, diversified financial system. The ripple effect of this shift will reach everyday citizens, changing how they understand finance, save money, and make investments. This transformation will lead to a more financially empowered and aware society, ultimately fostering long-term and sustainable economic growth. The report also took note of the India-Pakistan tensions and their potential economic impact. However, it pointed out a stark contrast. India possesses a diverse and stable financial system, whereas Pakistan's economy remains under severe global pressure. In this context, India is seen as more resilient, better prepared, and far more stable. This gap highlights India's strengths in policy-making, political stability, and international relations, all of which contribute to its rising status as a global economic power. In conclusion, The Moody's report is more than just an economic assessment. It's a message of reassurance, a symbol of confidence, and a strategic roadmap for India's future. It confirms that India, even amidst global storms, stands strong, prepared, and poised to lead.
If our video has taught you something new, do not forget to like and share this video so that this information can reach others as well. Your likes and shares are a source of inspiration for us. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know in the comments. It will be our honor to answer your questions and listen to suggestions. And yes, if you like our content, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you stay connected with every new story. Thank you. GRT Business YouTube channel sources: news from various news agencies, opinion polls, and other public sources. We try to ensure that every report and summary is accurate and verified, but we are not responsible for any dispute or error. Our aim is only to provide you with accurate information.